Who knew that a Christmas special for the Fosters would have the biggest cliffhanger so far? I'm just shocked about it. Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for The Fosters, Season 2, Episode 11, Christmas Past. And when I first saw the promo for this episode, I just thought this was going to be a fun episode. I thought that's what this was basically just going to be, that it wasn't really going to be anything that special, because it really seemed like most of the ABC Family Christmas specials weren't that big of a deal. The one that looked terrible to me was Swish the Birth. I watched the Swish the Birth one. Don't waste your time with it, okay guys? It's pointless. It has nothing to do with the story. It's not good. The one I am definitely looking forward to, though, is Pretty Little Liars. But the Fosters one, I didn't really know what they were going to do with it. And this episode ended up being very, very important. I ended up loving this episode. By far, one of the best episodes of the season. I thought this episode was amazing. And I'm very happy they put it online early, because there's a lot to talk about, definitely. And that cliffhanger, I do not want to wait till January now. I don't. I really want to see what happens next. But that's what a good cliffhanger should do. And if you guys thought the cliffhanger for the mid-season finale was big, you have no idea how big the cliffhanger was for the Christmas special. Now, let's just get to this episode because it was huge. And a lot of this episode did focus on the past, but the beginning of it focused on the present. Literally starts right where the mid-season finale left off. Brandon and Callie have just kissed, and of course, we were all in shock about it. I mean, I could kind of see it coming, but I was pretty in shock about it. And Brandon, it seems like they're just going to stand there for a little while, and he tells Callie that they can't do this, they don't want to do this again, and Callie says she's not getting adopted, and Brandon says she doesn't know that. She says she loves him. He pulls away, tells her he has to think about this. She looks upset. He goes to take a walk, and he thinks, he stares at their Christmas tree, and then the rest of the episode, he basically thinks back to last year's Christmas. Now, I'm kind of thinking, why is he thinking back to Christmas? There's an important reason why. It's at the end of the episode is when we found out why. But one of the things I love that this episode did is, being in the past, is that we actually find out how a lot of the Season 2 storylines started out, like why they happen in here. And I thought that was, they very subtly reveal things. I definitely really enjoy that. So we're then in Christmas. It's now the Christmas after Callie and Brandon, Callie and Jude realize that they both have different fathers. It's after Jude has just gotten adopted. He feels bad because of Callie. Brandon still has a cast on his hands. So all those storylines are still going on here. They're all decorating their Christmas tree. And Brandon shows Callie an ornament, the Grinch, which he made in kindergarten. She, teased him and asked if he was blindfolded. And Mariana shows Steph's mom, Sharon, the baby's first Christmas ornament, and Steph gives Jude and Callie Christmas presents in honor of it being their first Christmas with them. It's a picture of both of them, and they're about to take a picture, and Jesus ends up photobombing it. And I gotta say, Steph's mother in this, Sharon, best performance on the show. I don't care. This was her funniest episode yet. I thought that she was so funny. She really had a lot of really great comedic moments, and I love that, definitely. She was great. So, basically, Jesus is upset because he tells them they need more decorations because their neighbor, Mr. Nessbitt, just blew up a giant snowman. If they want to win, they need inflatables. And Steph asks what they want to win, and Lena explains that it's the Homeowners Association. They give a sign to put in your yard, and then on Christmas Day, they give out prizes. First place gets $250, and Sharon asks how much they need. Steph says they are not spending any more money on Christmas decorations. They have plenty. And Jesus says she's not the boss of Grandma, and she says she's not the boss of him. She is the boss of him. And Lena says to work with what they have got and use their imagination, but he says they don't have one. And Mariana says that's true, because last year and I thought this was really funny that we found this out. Last year, for Christmas, he gave her a vibrating toothbrush for $5 from the men's store. Like, how cheap can you be? I mean, out of everything, a toothbrush? What? I would never, ever do that to anyone. I would never give anyone a toothbrush. That's ridiculous. So, she says if Jesus is her secret Santa this year, her Christmas is going to suck. And I love Brandon's line where he's like, "Are you sure it was a toothbrush?" I thought that was hilarious. Lena asks what's wrong with the tree. There's something missing. Sharon says presents and that secret Santas are for people who work in a bank. Steph says she hopes Sharon did not go overboard with the presents. She says she did not, but she can't speak for Santa about the presents. It's about being together. They have been blessed with, basically. And I really like what Steph says here. She tells them that this year is not about, this year Christmas is not not about material, it's about spiritual. It's not about the presents, it's about being together. They have been blessed with Callie and Jude in their lives, and they don't need a piece of paper to make it official. So they are family no matter what, and they are the best present she could ever ask for. And I thought that was a great line. I definitely really enjoyed that. And I thought that was a very good scene, in my opinion. So Sharon says she hopes the judge throws a book at Viggo for what he did to Brandon. Jesus says someone is here for Callie, and it's a woman who says she is from the Giving Tree, and they are donating gifts to foster kids. So she says she hopes she has a Merry Christmas, finds a real family soon, and Callie's very hesitant to open the box, because obviously this was a very weird encounter for her. So Callie has no idea what she's supposed to do with this present. She's literally like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Which it makes sense, because, I mean, this random woman just came up to her and gave her a present. She has no idea what's going on. But they always get this when they're adopted. Mariana says, basically, they get them to, her and Jesus get them. They keep them under the tree, and then they return them. They keep them under the tree, they open them on Christmas Day, and then they return them. But they can't return them because there's no return address, but then Steph and Lena make them donate them, which kind of sucks because sometimes they actually get good stuff. So Callie says she guesses that what she'll do then, she guesses that's what she'll do. And Brandon asks Callie if she has gone and gifted, and he offers to take Callie out last night Christmas shopping, and they go together. So Sharon then asks Jude how Jude took it, and says it must have been a shock to discover him and Callie have different dads. And I thought this was good because it reminds us where we are. It reminds us what just happened in, this time period in the past. I definitely really enjoyed that. So Steph says that it was very hard, and it was hard for Jude, but it doesn't change how close they are. Lena comes in. Sharon says she was so afraid the gifts would not have arrived in time. Steph says she hopes she did not go crazy this year. And Lena says just be thankful that her mom is here. And then we get a very interesting plot point here. We get introduced to a new character in this episode, Lena's brother. Lena's brother, basically her mother Dana, is spending Christmas with her brother. And she's not entirely happy about this. We don't exactly know why. We find out a little bit later, but if they want to let him go back into their lives, that's fine. That's their business, but choosing to spend Christmas with him instead of them is just insulting. She feels it's very insulting, and she says she's not going to let it ruin her holiday. Steph says she really has to get rid of some boxes. How long can she keep her father, Frank's bank statement? When he died, he had $3,000 in his checking account, which was pretty impressive. I mean, it makes sense. But he had a money market of $150,000. And Steph is, freaking out by this. She had no idea this happened. She did not know about this. And it turns out, basically, you're trying to figure out what happened. Lena asked who else he would leave it to. And right away, we can see that he left it to Sharon. And obviously, they're freaking out about it. So Callie and Brandon go to his store to a Christmas shop. He asks her to tell him what she got him, and she says no, and he shows her something and asks if she wants it. She says she's not a cuff girl. There's a bracelet she likes, though, and Jude's also at the store. He looks at this bracelet. The clerk asks him if he needs any help. He puts back the bracelet and continues looking. So I was kind of wondering if he was going to, steal it or something, because they said there'd be something big about Jude that we found out in this episode, so I wasn't sure if he was going to be, a shoplifter or something. It really seemed like he was going to just, steal it. I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. I just did. So Brandon shows Callie what he thinks is the perfect gift for her, and it's a kitchen table, because if you remember, when she was in independent living, the first thing that she wanted to buy for her independent living was a kitchen table, or a couch. As he recalls, the floor was pretty uncomfortable. He says if they want to keep this Secret Santa thing secret, they better split up. And Callie says that's a good idea. She looks at the present of a little dog, and you can see that she's going to get that for someone. So, also, the other thing I like this episode did is it really focused on the character that we haven't seen as much, like Sharon and Daphne as well. We see a lot more of Daphne in this episode, which I really like. So we mainly focused on those two characters a lot in this episode. Steph asks how could Sharon not tell her. She says she didn't want to take it personally, that she attracted abundance in her life. And Steph says she did this because Frank didn't ever get around to changing his will after the divorce. Lena says it is what it is. Steph asks her to stop saying that, which she really should, because, it's kind of annoying. She says she highly doubts Frank would intend to leave this money to someone he didn't get along with. And Sharon says she's right here. Steph says families should not discuss around Christmas time. There are 3 things that families should not discuss around Christmas time. I thought it was good that Sharon said this, because it's true. You should not discuss these things. Politics, religion, money, and a woman's real age. So they should just nip it in the bud before someone takes real offense. And I agree with what she's saying there. So then we see that Callie is given the little dog toy to Daphne to help her get over her her fear of little dogs. And this was very interesting. I really like the way they did this. Daphne pulls out Callie's present, which is a job application for the job that Callie has right now. That's how she got it, because Daphne gave it to her. And I thought that was well done. It was very subtle reveal, but it was a well done reveal as well. Because it's like, oh, that's how that happened. It's one of those kind of episodes. You know where you have those episodes where it's like, oh, that's what happened. That's the kind of episode this is, which I definitely enjoyed. So she asks how her adoption went, and Callie says she's not adopted yet. When this lady came by to give her a present, Daphne asks if she's going to feel sorry for herself because someone gave her a present, and she has people, and Daphne doesn't. And we sort of focus more on Daphne's storyline here. It kind of makes me wonder if we're going to focus more on Daphne's storyline when the show returns in January, because I know they said a lot of stuff in this episode is foreshadowing stuff we're going to see in the second half of season 2. So I think that's interesting. I think they should focus on Daphne, because we find out she's actually a very interesting character, in my opinion. So Callie asks if she has heard from her social worker, her daughter, and we find out that her daughter, Tasha, is going to be turning 2. She has done everything, and they will not give her visitation rights. They won't even let her give her a Christmas present. She asks if they will at least let her give her pictures. She says not even that, but she has seen her at the park where she lives with her foster lady, with her foster family, and Callie asks how she knows where she lives, and she says the social worker had her name on the desk, and Callie says if they find out she's stalking her, Daphne says she's not stalking her, she's her kid, which is true. She's really not stalking her, but it is bad what she's doing. It's not good. And Callie says as long as she is in the system, she belongs to the state. She tells her to be patient. As long as she does everything right, she can see her, but don't go back to that park. She tells her specifically, don't do that. So then we get sort of the comedic plot of this episode, which I like. I thought this was very funny, in my opinion. Mariana goes up to Jesus, gives him a list of gifts under $40 he could get her, and he asks if she is crafty, because now that Steph and Lena, don't want him to buy Christmas decorations, he wants to make decorations. And she says he does not need any more decorations. It's about quality, not quantity, which is true. I like that line. He needs a theme. His decoration should tell a story. That's why he needs her. And he says, what if he gave her the $40 instead of giving her a gift? And she says she's in, but she's not doing any manual labor. She wants a 20% commission if he wins. She wants full control and final cut. And I love how precise she was with it. She's like, okay, I need this, this, and this. I thought that was very funny. He tells her they're not making a movie. She says those are her terms, and I love that. I thought that was very funny. A lot of people get very annoyed by Mariana when she's this way. I thought she was very funny in this episode, definitely. I mean, think about it. They're brother and sister. Obviously, she's gonna, screw around with him a little bit. So Steph says she can't believe her mom is not the least bit shaken about inheriting Frank's money, and she says she knows she's going to flush it down the toilet, and she even knows what she got the kids for Christmas, which is like these scooter things, sort of like these big scooter things, and I love Lena's line. She's like, what'd she get us? And I thought that was very funny. But she says the point is they don't need the top 10 gadgets of the year. What they need is a college education, which is true. I mean, these kids are not kids. They're teenagers who are going to be going off to college in a few years, some of them. Brandon's going to be going off to college soon. Callie probably, Jesus and Mariana, pretty soon some of them are going to be in college in a few years. So I can understand why Steph is kind of upset about that. So Lena says she's starting to sound a bit petty, and she says that's interesting because she's the one who won't, and I like that Steph said this because they brought this up once, then they didn't talk about it, but then they talked about it again, and I definitely really enjoyed that. Steph says that she is the one who won't talk to her mother because she's spending Christmas with her half-brother, and she's upset because half is not full. And Jude walks in, hears all this. I thought this was very well done. He thinks of what Lena just said about him and Callie, and basically he's really upset because that's basically what he thinks is, now he thinks that he's doing something wrong with him and Callie. So Steph feels bad and tells Lena she could reconsider what she just said about half-siblings. She says she meant full sibling who you grow up with, who you live in the same house with. She hardly knew Nathan. She hardly knows him. And Steph asks why she's so upset about what he said to her mother once to her face. And she has not forgiven her for that. She says people call her names right to her face. They call her homophobic names. She knows in their hearts they're not homophobic. And I really like that Steph said this. I kind of agree with what Steph said here, definitely, with what she says about when people call names. Because, I mean, when people are bullied and things like that, when people bully other people, a lot of times it's because they themselves are hurting. They have something going on in their lives, and they want to take all of that aggression and anger out on other people. That's why people bully other people. So I agree with what Steph said here. Basically, she says sometimes people use hateful words because they hurt, not because they hate. He was young, and people grow up, grow nicer, they grow kinder, and holding a grudge makes you say hurtful things that she thinks Jude may have overheard. So I like that she said that. So Mariana and Jesus go to Mr. Nessbitt. Very funny scene. Thought this was hilarious. He said he never had a problem with vandals. He's someone slashed the invisible snowman. He has never had a problem with vandalism until he decided to enter. So he pretty much thinks that Jesus is the one that's doing this. He says he will sit up all night to protect his decorations and his property. Mariana asks if he did it, and she says, and you know, basically, Jesus, of course, says no, and she says now they're getting death threats. She may want to renegotiate their contract for hazardous things. I thought that was very funny. So Lena goes to Jude, and this was a great scene. I always love scenes where Lena and Jude bond. They work so well together, and I love it. Okay, you know how good Steph and Brandon bond? Lena and Jude really work great as well. So Lena goes to Jude, and he has gotten Callie the watch she wanted. He wanted to get her something nice since he didn't get adopted, and he got it for $40, and Lena says she's lucky to have a brother with such good taste. Lena says she has a brother she doesn't talk about much. Her dad was married before he met her mom, and he had a son named Nathan. And they didn't live in the same house, so because of this, they couldn't really bond like him and Callie did, and that's why she said what she said. He lived in another state with his mom, and when he did come to visit, he was not very nice. He really wasn't nice to her mom, and Jude said maybe he was jealous because she got to live with her dad and he didn't. She says maybe she was feeling jealous herself and said some things she did not really mean. She tells him Callie is going to love that bracelet. She hopes he knows he does not need to make up for her not getting adopted with that gift. She loves him and he is special enough. And then we get something very interesting. Jude goes back to the clerk. He says he put it in his pocket and forgot to pay. It's actually $100. He says he doesn't have enough. He only has $40. She says he's lucky the bracelet went on sale 60% off. And she gives it to him for basically $40. So my question is, though, do you think that Jude possibly is shoplifting? I kind of feel like he didn't do it by accident. I feel like he kind of did it intentionally. I don't know if that's true, but I kind of feel like he did. I don't know why. I just do. So Callie calls Daphne. Steph and Lena have invited Daphne to come over for Christmas. She says thanks and asks what time. She says any time is fine. But she's now at that playground, which Callie specifically said, do not go back to that park. But she's there, and she sees her daughter there. She's crying. She even calls Tasha over, who looks at her. And this scene was just like, I had no idea what was going to happen here. Like, this was a very well done scene. So everyone comes down for Christmas dinner, and everyone's dressed nicely. They all exchange gifts. You know, they're starting to exchange gifts and things like that. And Sharon says she's glad that someone has an abundant mindset. She says she means an abundant debt for things they don't even want. That's what Steph says she means. And it was a wedding gift, and she bought them a bed without even asking them, and everyone gets really uncomfortable. I love the way Brandon was trying to, like, get out of it. He's like, do you need any help? Do you need any help? I thought that was very funny. It's a very funny scene. There were some very funny scenes this episode, which I definitely really enjoyed. We have to keep in mind, this is a Christmas special. A lot of the storylines are going to be a lot of fun, which I definitely enjoyed. Lena ended up burning the lasagna. She tells Steph her and Sharon are ruining everything, and then Christmas carolers come by. And they all apologize. You know, this kind of makes them apologize. And Steph says it's not that they don't appreciate Sharon's generosity. She's just worried about her kids and college and her when she gets old and has nothing to live on. And Sharon's like, you know what? Let me just give you the gift. She gives her a gift. She got all of them college investment accounts. She got all of them that. And Sharon asks, she really thought she was going to keep all of Frank's money for herself. She was going to keep it a surprise because tomorrow's Christmas. And she knows she has been under a lot of pressure, and she's been doing a great job. She just has to have faith that the universe will be there for her, and I agree. Steph, a lot of times, assumes the worst in people. She does, and I definitely agree with what Sharon said to her. I completely agree with that. So she actually says that she invests the money that Frank gave her, and she says she has plenty to live on her old age. And then Callie gets a call from Daphne. Her and Brandon rush, to see her with Tasha. They look for her and see her with Tasha. And this one, the episode gets really, really dramatic, and I definitely really thought this was a great scene, in my opinion. I like how far this plot really went, because I'm really feeling we're gonna see more of Daphne and Daphne's plot in the second half of season 2. Because they didn't really focus on that a lot. I know if you watch the Girls United web series, you know a little bit more, but I didn't, so... She says she didn't go planning to take her. She was just freaking out. The social worker said they wanted to adopt her. That's why she hasn't had visitation rights. And Callie asks if she can talk, and she says no. And Brandon tells her not to get involved with this. She is still on probation. Any place they take Tasha, they're going to use cameras. Daphne says he's right. She should never have called her. Brandon says he doesn't want to go home and be like nothing happened. And Callie then comes up with a plan. She asked Daphne if she knows where Tasha lives. So that's basically her plan here. And then Mariana goes into Jesus' tent. He's thinking about what she said earlier about him giving terrible gifts. And it got her thinking about their last Christmas with Anna. They were 5 years old and spent Christmas all alone. She was scared and sad, and he made her feel better. And he still does try to make her feel better. And she thanks him for that and everything. And I like that scene because it really shows how great these two are as siblings. I love seeing that. I think that was a great scene. I definitely really enjoyed that. I thought that was fantastic. So, Daphne, Callie, and Brandon have gone to where Tasha lives. Daphne says she has to do this alone. She tells Brandon to drive around the corner, wait 5 minutes, and if she doesn't come, just take off without her. She goes into the house with Tasha. She gives Tasha the dog toy Callie gave her. She tells her to knock on the door. She waves goodbye to her daughter where her foster dad is waiting for her, and she runs away. So that's really all we saw of that plot in this episode. I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that when the show does come back. I'm just wondering if we are. So Jesus hears commotion outside, goes to see what is going on. Mr. Nessbitt catches the kids stealing decorations, and they bond. And they really have a nice bond here. I definitely really enjoyed that. I like this scene between Mr. Nessbitt and Jesus. I really definitely enjoyed it. And I actually like to see more of Mr. Nessbitt. I think he's a good character in my opinion. Maybe he could be sort of like a mentor for Jesus. Maybe help him with some things that he's going through. I definitely would like to see more of Mr. Nessbitt, definitely. I definitely want to see what he thinks of Jesus' girlfriend, Haley. I definitely want to see what he thinks of that, because he's going to tell Jesus, I don't want you to be with her. He's definitely going to tell him that. So, he talks about how in his days, everyone had a mom and a dad, and everyone looked the same, and if someone adopted a kid, they didn't tell anyone. It didn't matter how they all came together. It's just nice to have a big family, especially around the holidays. And he has 3 kids scattered all around the country. Ever since his wife died, they don't really want to visit. They got their own kids. He asked why he doesn't want to see them, and he basically said that he just wants to be home too. He says his house looks great too. He says he doesn't think those punks will be back to mess with them. Jesus goes away touched by his story, and that was a great scene. So then it's Christmas Day. They're all exchanging gifts. Lena steps outside to call her mom, Dana. She says she's so happy she called and that they missed all of them. She says she wants to speak to Nathan, and she actually does get to speak with him. So I really feel we're going to get more of this plot in the second half, where Lena's going to start to bond with Nathan. I actually think I would actually really like to physically see Nathan, to see like what he's like, see what his mannerisms are, things like that. I want to definitely find out more about Nathan's story. He seems to be a very interesting character, and I definitely want to find out more about him. I think he's definitely could be a really cool storyline if they want to, how far they want to go with this. So, Mariana and Jesus open the foster presents, and surprisingly, they have their names on them. They know everything about them. So, Jesus asks if they can keep them, and of course, Steph's not going to take them back because they have their names on them. So she says, yeah, why not? So, Callie steps outside, and this is when we find out why Brandon is reminiscing this Christmas, why he's reminiscing it, and I really thought this scene was very important. Callie steps outside and finds Brandon on the doorstep. He says he's not really feeling the Christmas spirit. Callie gives him her present. It's a piano cast, and basically he says he may not be able to play piano again. She says he can look at it that way. What if she had stayed? He says he doesn't know. And she says not to lose faith. If she just gave up, what if she had stayed in independent living? She'd have a kitchen table and no one to support it. And her other present to him is a metronome. She said, he says he really likes it. And she says she wants them to promise each other to never give up on their dreams. I thought that was great. And then the end of the episode, I love the way they end this episode. This cliffhanger, I mean, this could have just been a fun Christmas special, but no, this is the Fosters we're talking about. Fosters has to do huge stuff. That's the way the Fosters works, and I love that the Fosters realize that they need to do a big cliffhanger to get us hyped up for January. And if this doesn't say January's gonna be huge, I don't know what does, because this is insane the way this episode ends, and I really feel I know what this is trying to show. We go back to the present. Callie finds Brandon. They sit together. Basically Brandon's still sitting there. Callie's finds him and everything. And I thought it was just going to end with them looking at each other, not really going to know what to do next. But then we see a paramedic truck coming, and they're, like, freaked out by it. They see it pass by. They get concerned, and they go to see what happened. We see Robert Quinn standing there, and we see, Colleen standing there as well. And here's what I'm thinking. I am thinking that Sophia tried to commit suicide, and they're going to either revive her, something's going to happen with her. Definitely shit's about to go down. I can't wait to see what happened there. What an amazing cliffhanger that was. I was not expecting that at all. And wow, this was an amazing episode. Let's talk about a few things first of all. I loved this episode because of the way it really portrayed Christmas. It portrayed Christmas very, very well. The focus on Lena's brother Nathan and Steph's mother Sharon, I thought were very well done. I definitely want to see more of those plots. What do you think is going to happen now with Callie and Brandon? Are they going to keep that promise to each other? It doesn't seem like they're going to be in this relationship, because you can see that Callie, Brandon doesn't, Callie doesn't really think this should be happening. You can definitely tell, that should not be happening. Brandon, actually, no, Callie seems to be wanting this, but Brandon doesn't want this. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Are we going to see Nathan in Season 2? I definitely want to see Nathan's character. They've made him a very interesting character, definitely. I want to see what he's all about. I definitely want to see more of Steph and Sharon. I love their bonding. I think they are great together. Are we going to see more of Mr. Nessbitt as well? That's going to be cool to see. How is Sophia's, did Sophia try to commit suicide? Is someone else hurt? What does paramedic truck mean? Are we going to find out more about Daphne's plot? I definitely want to see more of Daphne and Tasha. I think this is a very interesting plot, and they really have opened up some very interesting things about Daphne that I'm very interested in. But that's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys have not seen this episode, go watch it right now, because it's online on abcfamily.go. You can watch it. Don't wait till tomorrow to watch it. I'm happy I didn't wait till tomorrow, because I'm very happy I watched this episode. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Homeland. And I will see you guys for that. Again, let me know what you guys saw this episode. I just can't wait for January. I'm sorry, guys. I can't wait for January. This has been probably the biggest cliffhanger the Fosters has ever done, and I'm so hyped for January. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.